Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
I'm urging these gossippers, this lobby group, please give the chance to president. He's the president of the people, he's not your president politician. You disturb us. Let president have his space to listen to the people. Let president have his space to listen to the voice of the voiceless. He will hear what people want, not from you. Because you advise president based on your political interest. And this will never benefit the country. But I just with that, yes, in Zolbak Chibugul will line us the chapter, which have good, like in Usama and chapter, but Nahanalism Natalim and Siasin, please, clear is in the Pursa Yasma and chapter with Kanye. Yano is Basmarat, or is Purugia institution. Raise no put issue, Yamal interaction even, younger of Facebook, and you should shout there, like into your blocking President Bakulidua, and my issue as a chap, and you are contributing to our suffering. This year, I will raise the Nazal will raise the Afghan to Sudan, and we are going to deal with you one, by the way.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Catholic bishops of Sudan and South Sudan have issued a strong call for peace, justice and unity as conflict and humanitarian crisis persist in the two countries. The National Minister of Transport, Rizk Zakaria Hassan, says Kenya has extended the grace period from 14 to 45 days for South Sudanese containers. And a new media monitoring report has revealed that South Sudan's media sector has made notable strides in professionalism, earning high scores across key journalistic standards and practices. These stories and more coming to in this news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal. Now the news in detail. The Catholic bishops of Sudan and South Sudan have issued a strong call for peace, justice and unity as conflict and humanitarian crisis persist in the two countries. They expressed concern over rising conflict and worsening humanitarian suffering in both countries. The message was delivered during the 51st Annual Plenary Assembly held in Malakal from 7th to 14th November 2025 under the theme Building Peace, Healing Wounds and Strengthening Unity. The bishops highlighted key issues affecting stability and citizens' well-being. They said rival politicians are putting personal interest above the welfare of the people. They added that mismanagement and misappropriation of national resources have left many communities in extreme poverty. The bishops emphasized that leadership should focus on service and the common good. They also warned that ethnic, tribal, and intertribal divisions are being manipulated for political gain. They stressed that unity amid diversity has historically been a source of strength. Divisive politics, they say, it threatens social cohesion. Cardinal Stephen Ameyu Mula, who is the Archbishop of Juba and President of the Sudan and South Sudan Catholic Bishops' Conference, read the statement at the close of the meeting yesterday.
Unprecedented ethnic, tribal, and even intertribal divisions in the name of politics. Unity in diversity among the tribes, ethnic groups, and communities of Sudan and South Sudan has always been the source of strength in the context of their histories, religious, race, and cultures. We call for the full implementation of the revitalized agreement for resolution of conflict in South Sudan by all parties to create confidence in the people and engage in sincere dialogue.
The National Minister of Transport, Rizk Zakaria Hassan, says Kenya has extended the grace period from 14 to 45 days for South Sudanese containers. He says the move will ease pressure on traders who have long faced high storage and clearance fees at the port of Mombasa. The minister made the remarks after returning from Mombasa, where he met Kenyan officials to discuss deposit fees. Speaking to journalists in Juba yesterday, Minister Rizk said the extension followed successful talks between South Sudan and Kenyan authorities. He explained that traders currently pay up to $5,000 per container and the new grace period will help cut demurrage charges and speed up the flow of goods. Rizek also spoke about challenges facing the transport sector, saying only 2 of the ministry's 6 directorates operate under established laws.
The security fees for containers coming to South Sudan, they made it to be 5,000. That is within Kenya. Crossing the borders, it will be amounted to $6,000. Those are the security fees which have been levied on the containers. Now the challenge, these fees, bearing in mind the contemporary challenges, the actual challenges on the ground facing South Sudan about the distance, about the infrastructures, about the logistics, about the other uncertainties, roadblocks, and then the rest. That usually made the transporters not to comply with the grace period. And at most, the container security fees ends up as value-added tax. Instead of just containers going back now, with the delay, and sometimes there are some misperceptions among our people, then the containers end up here in South Sudan. Automatically the prices, the fees will end up as added values on the prices that the consumers, they have to pay it. That is what you have realized, and it's a challenge. And based on this, we did our homework when we were there in Kenya, in Mombasa and Nairobi. We did our consultations with the relevant authorities, and now we are devising mechanism of how to manage those containers upon departure to South Sudan and how to return them back to Mombasa.
He said draft laws for the remaining 4 directorates are being finalized for submission to the Minister of Justice and later to Parliament. The minister added that the ministry is short of more than 400 staff, but work is underway with the Minister of Public Service to fill the vacant positions. He also highlighted a memorandum of understanding with China Roads and Bridges Corporation to conduct feasibility studies for the proposed Dali International Airport. Rizek said the project will be fully funded by the Chinese side and forms part of efforts to improve national and regional connectivity. He stated that the government is committed to improving transport infrastructure and reducing trade costs to build a more reliable transport system for the growing economy. This is iRadio Afternoon News. A new media monitoring report has revealed that South Sudan's media sector has made notable strides in professionalism, earning high scores across key journalistic standards and practices. The report by Digital Rights Frontline and Journalists for Human Rights looked at radio, TV, newspapers, and websites between July and August this year. Speaking on Thursday, Digital Rights Frontline researcher Jackson Ochaya said the study focused on ethical and professional practices. He said news organizations scored high in 3 main areas: credible information, attribution of facts and quotes, and story balance. The report shows media outlets are avoiding misinformation, stereotyping, and generalizations. On story balance, they presented multiple viewpoints on complex issues. On attribution, journalists clearly cited sources and gave context, keeping misinformation very low. Ochaya said these results show local media are following professional standards more closely. This helps build public trust and ensures people get accurate information. The report also looked at how many unique stories were published. Newspapers had the most, while radio had fewer because news bulletins are often repeated. Some of the outlets monitored included iRadio, SSBC, Radio Miraya, and several leading Arabic and English newspapers. Elsewhere, South Sudanese traders are losing millions as thousands of containers remain stuck at the port of Mombasa after new tax rules and storage restrictions were introduced, according to a Kenyan clearance agent. Amit Abdelatif, a clearance agent for South Sudanese traders, says the policies are making trade very difficult and pushing up prices for essential goods. He spoke to iRadio from Mombasa Port in Kenya.
What I can say, we have been handling work for South Sudan containers, units, fuel without any problem. They used to move swiftly from the port to South Sudan. But last year, October, there was introduction of payment of taxes when the goods are in Mombasa. So in that point, you get many traders, they don't have money for taxes. Because for them, maybe they have got the goods on credit,
They reach Nimule, they get money, that's when they pay. So on the introduction of payment of taxes in Mombasa, most of the traders and importers, they fail to get money for paying the taxes, so the goods have been abandoned until now.
The taxes main traders now have to pay before goods reach Nimule, leaving thousands of containers abandoned at the port.
Now, other countries like Uganda, Rwanda, Congo, their containers are being cleared from the port. So in the port, even if you have challenges, because it's for the government, even if, for example, a client has a problem of paying the charges, maybe he's sick, maybe he doesn't have money, it has overstayed, if you write an official letter and the proof, they waive for you. But now, containers for South Sudan, whenever we ask, they're saying South Sudan agreed the containers and cars should be handled by two companies, Autoport PFS and Compact PFS. These are private storage areas. So in these private storage areas, they give only 14 days. And other CFS, we have other like Consobase, Kencourt, Signon. Ugandan people, they are taking cars there. They are given free 60 days to 90 days.
South Sudanese traders face much stricter storage rules than their neighbors. Private container freight stations allow only 14 days, after which huge fees kick in.
Well, actually, we have been battling with this for so long, and actually we have sent like to the regulatory authorities several letters that they ignored. But from the challenges that we face, that we told the government and we told the regulatory authority in particular that why can't you, if possible, why can't you just release these cars to give them waivers there, and then we come and pay our taxes in Numule, as well as the containers, because right now we're paying very high damages. Like for me, I've been the victim of paying like $20 per day per unit, and I have there over 7 units. Like on the ground, imagine. So you can just multiply that figure per day, every day. So we may be suggesting if they can really release these units to come and all this cargo to be paid in Numule, it can be better. As well as also they charging us for agent, and yet in the actual sales the agent are not the one taking this money. You know, so they have been against us, as even the South Sudanese, and have been a victim of all this. I've lost almost $30,000.
Vehicle suppliers say the high fees, penalties and extra charges have cost them tens of thousands of dollars. They also blame poor communication from authorities, which leaves them unprepared for sudden policy changes.
That's why we are fighting for those issues. First thing, nomination of units and containers will be given right to the client. Second thing, they should remove this policy of taxation in Mombasa. And then third thing, the government should get amnesty to the government of Kenya, so that they can waive all the goods which are stuck in Mombasa and Nairobi. That will be good for us and the traders, because for the meantime, work of South Sudan is not moving. Okay, the taxes, the storage charges, they are high, because after 14 days, on the 15th day, they charge something called remarshalling charges, which is $165, and also their charges $70 per day, every day, from that after 14 days, until when you're going to remove your cargo.
Traders and agents are calling on both Kenyan and South Sudanese authorities to act quickly. Without charges to tax and storage rules, the backlog at Mombasa will continue, keeping essential goods out of reach for many South Sudanese consumers. This is iRadio News. The Greater Pibor Commissioners Forum has called for the deployment of security in hotspot areas to stop criminal activities like cattle raiding and abduction of children and women. The forum also resolved to rehabilitate and build road networks connecting the counties, as well as the schools and health care facilities to improve access to essential services in all 7 counties. It further called for peace dialogue programs to promote peaceful coexistence among neighboring communities. Speaking on the closing day, Gola Boyo Gola, the chief administrator of Greater Pibor Administrative Area, said a task force will be established to help recover abducted children within Pibor and from other communities.
Establishing a task force for the issue of the child abduction. I think we look for a language so that it can be captured. Then we need to have a task force committee in Greater Pibor Administrative Area. A show began is to focus on the recovery of the abducted children from us and from other communities, the resolution. So our discussion should really be based on this.
The three-day forum began on 11th November and was attended by county commissioners, traditional chiefs, local government officials, development partners and civil society representatives. It was held under the theme Strengthening Local Administration and Resolving Challenges Through Dialogue. The event was organized with support from Hanmi's Civil Affairs Division in collaboration with Office of the Chief Administrator. Finally, before regional international stories, the National Ministry of Health and the Carter Center have launched the final three-year surveillance plan, marking the last stage in South Sudan's long-running campaign to eradicate guinea worm disease. The announcement followed a meeting in Juba between the Minister of Health, Sarah Cleto-Rial, and the Vice President of the Carter Center, Craig Withers. This comes as the country continues to face financial and operational challenges. Minister Sarah Cleto-Rial acknowledged global funding pressures affecting health programs, including support for the guinea worm initiative.
It's really an honor to welcome the Vice President for the Carter Center, so to hear an update about the progress of the guinea worm eradication program. We are going through difficult times worldwide with the cuts in funding and reduction in the number of international institutions that has been supporting, including the Carter Center. Also, the USAID closing has affected the Carter Center funding, but they have remained committed to South Sudan. However, the program and serving the community where they are will not be affected. So I really appreciate the work of Carter Center. So together we'll ensure that we achieve the eradication. We will not disappoint the Carter Center with all the investment that they did in South Sudan.
Meanwhile, Craig Withers, Vice President of the Carter Center, praised the country's progress in reducing guinea worm cases over the past 2 decades. He said the final step before global recognition is a 3-year period of continuous surveillance.
We had a very good meeting with the Honorable Minister of Health to review the progress of the guinea worm eradication program in South Sudan. When we first started here in about 2005-2006, there were about 20,000 cases of guinea worm. Currently, in 2025, we have 2 cases. So the program has made great progress under the leadership of the Minister of Health, and we are very confident that we can finish the job. When we do break transmission, we will need to at least conduct surveillance for 3 years. And if we have 0 cases over those 3 years, then the Ministry of Health of South Sudan will submit a request to the World Health Organization to certify that guinea worm transmission has been broken. And the leadership of the Honorable Minister, we're very confident that we will achieve full eradication.
The Minister of Health says the start of this surveillance plan brings South Sudan closer to becoming one of the few countries in the world to eliminate guinea worm disease. Now to the regional international stories. Here is James Atem.
Thank you, Wol Mapal, and here are the regional and international stories. 4 people have died and dozens more have been wounded in a wave of Russian drone and missile strikes on Kyiv, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky. Condemning the strikes as vile and calculated, Zelensky said about 440 drones and 18 missiles had been launched and dozens of high-rise buildings damaged. Kiev's energy infrastructure was hit badly, leaving some buildings in the capital without heat, officials said. Ukraine's Air Force said several other regions across the country were also targeted. Officials said that the Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk was hit in an overnight Ukraine attack. Fire broke out at the major Cheskari's oil refinery, and a ship and apartment blocks were hit. Elsewhere, Bangladesh former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has denied committing crimes against humanity during a deadly crackdown on last year's uprising that ousted her days before the special tribunal trying her is due to deliver a verdict. Hasina is accused of being the main architect behind the hundreds of killings during the mass protests against her autocratic rule, an allegation she denies. In her first interview with the BBC since she fled the country on August 5, 2024, she said her trial in absentia was a farce orchestrated by a kangaroo court controlled by political opponents. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for Hasina if she is found guilty on Monday. And finally, Germany's coalition government has agreed a new military service plan to boost troop numbers following months of wrangling between political forces. The new military service plan will mandate all 18-year-old men to fill out a questionnaire on their suitability to serve and from 2027 to undergo medical screening. The decision comes as Berlin aims to create Europe's strongest conventional army. Lawmakers are expected to vote on the plan by the end of 2025. And that has been the regional and international news with me, Jamie Sate. Now back to you, Wol Mapal, in the studio.
Thank you so much, James Atem, for the regional international stories. Up next is sports. Joining us live is now Lesuba Memo.
Thanks, Wol Mapal. In the world of sports, let's begin at home in an exciting Week 8 clash of the South Sudan Premier League. Al Hilal Wow and Koryom FC Bor played out a 2-all nil draw. Koryom initially took a 2-0 lead, but Al Hilal fought back to score 2 goals and secure a draw, showcasing the competitive spirit of both teams. Today, football fans can look forward to the Unity State Derby, where Al Merrikh Sports Club will face Bentiu City at Juba National Stadium. Al Merrikh aims to win and move closer to the top of the league, while Bentiu City is seeking a victory to distance themselves from the relegation zone. In another key match, Al Salam Awil takes on Al Malikia, with both teams eager to secure a positive result to improve their position in the league standings. Nigeria and DR Congo have reached the final of the African playoffs for the 2026 FIFA World Cup after impressive wins yesterday in Morocco. Nigeria defeated Gabon 4-1, while DR Congo edged out Cameroon 1-0. The winner between Nigeria and DR Congo will face an even bigger challenge in Mexico from March 23rd to 31st, 2026. Africa's representative will join Bolivia, New Caledonia, 2 teams from CONCACAF and 1 team from Asia. From this group of 6 teams, only 2 will secure a ticket to the 2026 World Cup. Although the group stage draw is scheduled for next month, the final list of qualified teams will only be confirmed in March 2026. Finally, Carlos Alcaraz said securing the year-end world number 1 ranking means everything after he reached the knockout stages of the ATP finals, where 3 straight wins. Alcaraz was already secured of a semi-final place after Alex de Minaur beat Taylor Fritz earlier on Thursday, but he could not be denied in his bid to edge rival Yannick Sinner in the race to be crowned the top-ranked men's player of 2025. The 22-year-old Spaniard let out a huge roar as he achieved the feat by beating Italian 9th seed Lorenzo Musetti 6-4, 6-1, also ensuring he recorded 70 wins in a season for the first time in his career. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Wol Mapal.
Thank you so much, Lesuba Memo, for the sports updates. And here brings us to the end of our stories this afternoon. But first, let's have a quick recap of our top stories once again. The Catholic bishops of Sudan and South Sudan have issued a strong call for peace, justice and unity as conflict and humanitarian crisis persist in the two countries. The National Minister of Transport, Rizk Zakaria Hassan, says Kenya has extended the grace period from 14 to 45 days for South Sudanese containers. And a new media monitoring report has revealed that South Sudanese media sector has made notable strides in professionalism, earning high scores across key journalistic standards and practices. That is the end of our video news. If there is a story or an event you would like our video to cover or report about, please don't hesitate to send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at half past the hour. I am Wol Mapal. Thank you for listening.